Hello, welcome to Too Tough to Die. I'm Tony, and today you're going to hear a little bit of what's wrong with this world. Every time you hear a little bit of what's wrong with this world, because we've got a lot wrong with this world. But I believe the last podcasts, if you're listening to them in order, that is, mentioned the infomercial. So let's give you an infomercial today. New at many stores, $1.29, as seen on this infomercial. You can buy this product. It will remove grease from your clothes. It will remove rust. It'll loosen rusty bolts, and it will remove blood from your clothes. Well, the Clintons might be looking into that, except, you know what, they don't actually care. They just get rid of it and tell the medical examiner to get rid of the evidence. It'll clean oil stains from your floor and clean burnt pans. Obviously, don't drink this shit. Again, do we need to put that label on the bottle? Like shampoo? We have to kill 50,000, 100,000 animals every year just because some stupid ass adult with supposed intelligence doesn't realize, don't put the soap in your fucking eyes. Obviously, don't put it in your mouth. No disclaimer on this product, though. It will descale your kettle. You can clean battery terminals with it. It's a one-and-all product. It'll do everything. It'll clean your engine. You got some old pennies? Throw it in there. It'll clean all the tarnish off your old pennies. I'm not fucking doing an infomercial. It'll clean your tile grout. This is something some of you hopeful Clintons want to do. It'll dissolve bones. So we got dissolving bones and get rid of blood stains too. It'll remove gum from your hair. See, now we're appealing to the young people. It'll remove stains from China. It'll clean your dirty pool and remove hair dye. Just make sure you don't drink it. It'll get magic marker out of your carpet. It'll clean your toilet. It'll shine your chrome, and it'll strip paint off your metal furniture. You can buy it anytime you want. It's called Coca-Cola. Keep drinking it. By the way, when you're drinking it, see if you can swirl it around your mouth with your tongue and see if you can taste the genetically modified sugar. See if you can taste that. Anyway, see, I can be a funny fucking guy, can't I? Today, I like to display a few things out of a book I wrote because it covers a lot of topics, and there are still a handful of you that haven't purchased the book. You can get it online. You can get it at our office. My wife will sell you one probably $5 cheaper than I will, because she's very nice. Anyway, here's a little section here. There are many hardworking Canadians in all walks of life. Stores, factories, tax offices, cars. They're trying to make things better. They're trying to do their bit or trying to better themselves. I'll never knock them down a peg ever. Hell, I am one of them. So anyone knocked around in the succeeding pages, it doesn't refer to them. Some of you may find the tone of parts of my diatribe as somewhat less than savory. I have nothing to add further to that statement. Perhaps some of you will have been motivated in some fashion to do something about that. Do something about something that shouldn't happen, shouldn't allow to happen, we won't allow to happen. And if you do, the rest of us thank you. So for my small part, even if I was a motivator, I guess that would make me a cognitive dissonance awareness facilitator. For all you people that like to throw the fucking vocab around. Remember when I ejaculated last podcast? Did you figure out what that was yet? Anyway, back to the book. Where else are you going to get in one book Monty Python, Star Trek, Adolf Hitler, asshats, and several derivations of the word fuck? As a final nudge to you to do something positive, if you haven't come to that stage of life yet, perhaps start by treating the environment just a minuscule bit better, which you can accomplish by walking between stores instead of starting up your car to go across the lot. Or even put your seatbelt on before you start up the car, because if you take that 4 seconds that your car's running while you're jacking your seatbelt around and multiply it by millions and millions of people, think of how much gas we're actually wasting. And then I concluded my introduction by saying I'm now going to go enjoy a non-GMO dinner that I know is vegan, healthy, tasty, and cruelty-free. I will also add some delicious snacks, cake, chocolate, and chips. The difference between us, perhaps, is that I know what we are both ingesting, and you don't. Apathy, my friends, apathy. Remember this. If you behaved like your government, you'd be arrested. And if you don't believe me, give it a try. I then went on, the section on Canada Pension Plan is just too voluminous. You might want to take a peruse at that. Know what you're paying for. Now I'm talking about employment insurance. For those of you old guys and gals, let's not contravene the charter, fuck off. For all you old guys out there that are old enough to remember it, employment insurance used to be called unemployment insurance. So, okay, let's talk about mathematics for a while. Now, I'm a firm believer in numbers don't lie, but people can make them say whatever they want them to say. Or does that make them show whatever they want them to show? For example, for years, the Government of Canada and the Finance Minister proudly announce EI premiums will not increase. They will be staying at 1.88% of workers' insurable earnings. To reiterate here, the government stated EI premiums will not increase. What does that mean to you? I assume it means that you believe EI premiums will not increase. Am I right, Joe? Yeah. And if you doubt me or you're unsure, here are the stats. I just went back a few years. In 2009, somebody that was working full-time and was getting decent pay, the government was taking $732 from their pay for employment insurance. And you got to remember something. This is like your regular car insurance or your home insurance. A lot of people pay insurance every fucking year and they never use it. Well, that's why you buy it. You hope to never use it. So you now got people at work paying employment premiums of $732 a year in a stable job that they're never ever going to need unemployment. So you people that are on unemployment, thank these people. Thank yourself. You paid into it. Now, the next year, 2010, remember, the government that year stated EI premiums will not go up. Well, they were $732 in 2009, so obviously they were $747 in 2010. Wait a minute. I thought they didn't go up. 2011, it was $787. Then it went to $840. Then it went to $891. Then it went to $913. And then it kept going up. Last year, it was $955. And here's why. The Government of Canada told you EI premiums will not increase. And here's me and my mathematics telling you the finance minister is a dirty fucking liar. Here's the fact. They took an extra 15 from you in 10 than they took in 09. Then they took an extra 40 from you in 11 than they did in 10. So 55 more than they did from you in 09. Then in 12, they took 53 more than they did in 11. Then they took 51 more in 13 than they even did in 12. Then they took they just kept taking more and more and more. So even though EI premiums did not increase, I'm telling you those premiums rose 2 point, you know what, fuck the decimals, that's for the book. 2%, then 5%, then almost 7%, then 6% between 10 and 13. At the same time, the minister's still lying to you, telling you that EI premiums did not increase. This is what they fucking do. The EI premium stayed at 1.88% of your earnings. All they did was they jacked up the maximum earnings they could take from $44,000 to $47,000 to $50,000. So they just kept taking more from you. But in the government doublespeak, EI premiums didn't go up. So your government is fucking you. I hope I have time today to get into City of Windsor, because I was talking to a friend of mine last night and I mentioned a few things and I'd like to get that out. But another passage from the book. We have a minister It's a section right after travel allowances. And it was titled, the subheading was, the subject was the rest of the row-hos, and you should know what that means. And the subtitle was Scamming the Man, Losers, Users, and Abusers. And I'll skip past all the travel perks, and we get to Leona Aglukak. I can't pronounce that. She's a northern Inuit person. I can't pronounce that. I apologize. But to the Inuit people, I'm not apologizing to her because she is a fucking douchebag. Hey, Leona, douchebag. She billed us $735.84 one year for travel expenses. It came out of the travel section. I didn't even really care about that. It's nothing big. But I said she's a bitch and could have fit into the scumbag section of this book. Now, this book has a chapter entitled Scumbags, so you might want to read that. Anyway, this dirty bitch is an MP from Nunavut and seems to have turned her back on the people who elected her into her cushy job. If none of you knows this, there is a very unbelievable food crisis going on in our northern regions, and it still is. It has been happening for a long time, and no one seems to care enough to do anything more than spread the word by commenting on news stories on the web. You see, the food crisis is one of cost. The people in a lot of northern communities are getting ravaged at grocery stores. They pay over $100 for a fucking 24 case of water. They pay $17 for one jar of peanut butter. And they pay $55 for a can of baby formula. Okay? Transportation costs are obviously the quick answer. But during a desperate plea to the news media to get the story out, the mayor of Rankin Inlet, Nunavut, called out their MP, this Leona bitch. And they also called out the prime minister for turning their backs on her people. So did this MP that was getting called out go help her people? Of course she did. Oh, wait a minute. She's the bitch and the scumbag. Of course she didn't. She responded by calling the mayor of Rankin Inlet a liar. And then, when the opposition MPs in our stupid House of Commons proceedings took on the Northerners' plight, because it suited their political advantage, they fired some salvos at the government during question period in the House of Commons directed at this bitch. Now, this bitch, who is the Minister of Environment, this fucking bitch who is Minister of Environment, she was sitting in the fucking House of Commons reading a fucking newspaper while they're asking her questions about what's going on in the North. So you tell me this isn't a fucking useless fucking bitch. Fucking douchebag. Then I got on to a part of our federal government, our MPs. If the MP travel fiasco wasn't enough for you, maybe you'll appreciate the thievery and debauchery of these MPs and their reprehensible shenanigans. First off is Vic Taves, or Toes. It has been pronounced both ways. He's the public safety minister, which is also Big Brother. I call him a fucking jackass because guess what Vic does as an MP making all that money and all this minister money, and he's a fucking jerk off? He takes the MP route and he claims the maximum allowable per diems that an MP gets per day with no receipts required to back it up. Now, Duffy and Wallen and those other scumbags in the Senate that were fucking ripping us off with no receipts and shit like that, it was for expenses that they were trying to bullshit through. But apparently our MPs, in case you guys didn't know this, they get paid $83.30 a day. Now this is possibly dated now because this was a couple of years old. For food, they don't even have to submit vouchers. So one of these fat fucking asses can go to Wendy's or Burger King and for McCrappies or fucking wherever they're going, Taco Hell, I don't know. They could scarf down a fucking $6 or $8 meal. They get to bill you and me $83.80 every fucking day. That's like $250 every 3 days. They don't even have to provide receipts. So if they just want to eat a fucking burger and fries for $6, they pocket the other rest of the money. This is nice, isn't it? CRA doesn't allow you to do that. In fact, if your employer paid you that money in a per diem, it's taxable. You didn't realize that, and you spent it because your week-to-week check. And come tax time, you get stuck with a $2,200 bill. It's because you got per diems, and it's taxable. But it's not taxable for the MPs because the MPs make the fucking laws. They also vote in raises for the MPs. Who gets to fucking do that? Oh, you know what? I'm going to leave the rest of this book for a second because let's talk about unions. The unions. They would like to get to make their own rules. Unions or trade unions came about for a very good reason. I'm talking about a fucking century ago when you had people working in the mines and new factories without fucking safety equipment. Sometimes these people would get underpaid, and assholes like Rockefeller and all those fucking Lugans back then were making tons of money. The Gettys, history. So a trade union came about to help ensure worker rights. Now, here's what unions are today. Fucking money grabs. If any of you have ever seen the union hall, the head of it, not your local chapter that's built a little place over there, the head union hall up in Toronto usually, where these companies go around and they fucking take in every employment place that has a good number of workers. They get in there and they want to unionize those workers. And for the most part, workers are stupid. Okay. They go for it. And you can't get rid of them if you got a union in there. Well, first of all, that's kind of bullshit. But case in point, Walmart got a union in Windsor, Ontario. Okay, that was fucking dumb. By the way, Walmart, every area Walmart goes into, the level of the economy goes down. The average wage rate in the whole area goes down. Walmart is a scum. Now, one of the biggest fiasco fucking union debacles in Windsor was the idiots that work at the casino. When Windsor Casino opened up with, 1,500, 2,500, 3,000 employees, the unions said, hey, look at how many fucking due-paying suckers we've got there. We'll get them all stirred up into a union with union rhetoric. We'll get them into a frenzy, and when they're all frothed up, we'll get them to sign on to our union. Okay, well, this was the casino. So I guess you're thinking it might be food and commercial worker. No, the CAW got them. The fucking auto workers got them because they wanted 3,000 people paying dues each month. And these fucking idiots went for it. And I know there are some casino workers listening to this. You know I'm right. You're fucking stupid. And when you had your little strike there a few years ago, guess what you did? You struck for fucking wages and you're going to tell me you struck for pension and rights of people. You struck for money is what you did. And the money you put into your pensions, you take it out every year because you can't get by on the wage you're earning. Nice union work. But when the casino offered you X amount of dollars in the way of certain percentage of your wage increase, this was maybe a week into the strike. Your union told you, no, you vote this down. They're full of shit. And the fat cats in Toronto were pulling in your dues. By the way, what'd you make? $50 a week on strike pay? Yeah, how'd that go over? Anyway, so the casino offered you, for lack of exact figures, A, B, and C. And you guys said, no fucking way. I'm in a union. I'm fucking say no. I'm striking. I'm staying on the picket line. And you were out of work for another 3.5 weeks. And it got tense and, you're having a hard time paying your bills and people are having to feel sorry for you. And then you finally made the deal with the casino 3.5 weeks later. Guess what you got? You got A, B, and C, exactly what they offered you 3.5 weeks earlier, and a $500 signing bonus. And you felt like a fucking king. I got me a signing bonus of $500. Okay, well, how much wage did you lose in the 3.5 weeks from the time they offered you that money until the time they offered you the exact same money plus $500. You lost 3.5 weeks of work, and 3/4 of the people I've explained this to that work there don't understand it. Did you get your $600 check the last 3 weeks? No. 3.5, maybe it was 4 pay weeks. I don't recall. No, you got 0, 0, 0, 0, and $500 in your pocket, which the government taxed and gave you $350 fucking dollars. So you kind of fucked up there. So unions are out to grab your money nowadays. They want more money, more money, more money. Well, unions don't give back when the business loses money. They want more and more and more and a share of the profits. Okay, if you're going to do that, are you going to play fair ball here and take a share of the losses? No, we're not having our wages go down. Oh, well, then you're just a bunch of fucking assholes. Well, yeah, we're a union. So you want more and more and more. Well, guess what you union bastards do? My father retired from Chrysler, and he worked there for over 32 fucking years. And he worked there, and he was check to check as well. And my mom worked hard. My wife's parents worked hard. A lot of people worked hard. And my dad went through the bad times at Chrysler. He was laid off in the 50s or 60s. I think it was 81 or 82 when that big-ass shit hit the fan, and they almost went out of business. They came to the workers and took concessions from the workers. And my dad and everybody that was working there then gave up a lot of money just to keep the place going. And they revamped, and the K-car helped get them a bunch of money 1 or 2 years, and then they got this minivan, and they were rolling in the fucking dough. And my dad retired, and his pension is set at a certain level for 32 years of fucking service. And I've got people that come to our tax office with their T4s that make more, holy shit, they make over double on their pension that my dad is getting, when they didn't even, some of these people didn't even start until after my dad was retired and only put in 18 to 20 years, and they're getting 2.5 times what my dad got because the unions don't fight for retirees. Fuck them. Guess what the unions do? They still charge the retirees $2 a month union fucking dues. Any of those contracts come up, did they say, we want to top up retirees' pensions? These old guys are fucking getting shafted. They're getting nothing. Prices are going up. Living's going up. These guys are stuck at this fucking much money. Let's give them... No, they didn't. They said, fuck them. I'm out for me. And all the union people said, yeah, right on. So, as far as your unions go, if you're in a union, 99% of them aren't needed. You're getting fucking fooled. And it just makes you a fucking pretty much of an asshat. So, that being said, I'm going to quickly divert over to the city of Windsor because I promised somebody I was going to mention this. We had been recently talking last month about the city's new salt dome that needed extensive, it didn't even need extensive repairs. It did at one time, but they didn't check it. And then they went in at the end of September, I think, and some building inspector said, oh my God, very dramatic, threw his arms out. This place has to be barricaded off. I can't let another human life go in there. So I don't know, maybe it was full of Clinton body fucking count victims. I don't know. Got to close it down. And the city said, oh my God, we have to build a whole new one. But because it's the end of September, and winter is just around the corner, we don't want to get hit with a storm and not have salt that we can salt the roads and prevent accidents and prevent lawsuits. We don't have time to even tender this. So let's just give it to this company here. And they built a new salt dome. And you've seen them. It's sort of pyramidal, rounded, and it holds salt. You see the big fucking opening in the front that the dump trucks go in and vehicles go in to pick up the salt. Well, this company, who didn't have to go through a tender process, so you know the city of Windsor didn't pick it out of the fucking hat, got a contract to build that thing for $800,000 fucking dollars. That's a lot of money to build a fucking salt shed. Christ, what they could have done was, just in case a winter storm hit. Okay, does that mean you think the people of Windsor are stupid enough to realize that if we don't have this salt shed built, we can't even have salt anywhere, like sitting on parking lots on our city property. We just can't have salt if it's not in a shed. So we're going to have accidents and lawsuits. How about fuck off? The people aren't that stupid. A lot of them are, and most of them are somewhat stupid. But they're not too stupid to realize you could have had salt somewhere. You also have more than one salt dome. And you have enough salt stored for the winter. So there's more than enough in the other salt domes you have. And if so, put it on the fucking ground. Or build a fucking shed. A 3-sided shed. So that led us into Windsor corruption. And I'd like to tell you a story about, I got a ticket one time. And it was all because of a fat fucking bus driver who was too lazy to turn the corner properly and complained that my car was in a bad spot. It was an illegally parked spot. And the city of Windsor come and gave me a ticket because the fat bus driver called in. And the city of Windsor was a stupid bitch. And I know this because we had dealings later on. Gave me a ticket for being in a no parking zone. So naturally, I think you people know what happened. Some of you do. I took some pictures of the offending spot. And I went down to the city. And I went into the building where they pay the fines, take our money, another money fucking grab. And they asked, "Oh, are you paying this in cash?" I said, "No, I'm not paying in cash. You get me a court date, I'm fighting this fucker because you guys are a bunch of fucking criminals." And, right away, they don't want that. They don't ever want you to go to fucking court because the city of Windsor is corrupt. And you know what? I have a recall here. I might have said this before. I don't know. But I told them their signs are full of shit. And they called the girl douchebag that gave the ticket. And she remembered like 10 or 15 days later about this ticket. And she knew all the... Okay. So all in all, they eventually tried to stick it with me twice before they ate it. And again, with that parking meter fiasco. I know I've mentioned that in the past where the city's got a non-functioning parking meter and they just keep leaving it there. So we started talking more about, my friend and I talked about City of Windsor corruption, and we got into where when Eddie Francis was around and he pretty much had his hands in a lot of things money-wise. And the mayor is also on the board of the library and gets stipend for that, and he's on the board of the firefighters and gets a stipend for that, and he's on the board of NWIN and he gets a stipend for that, and we all know about NWIN, don't we? Listen to an October podcast. And some attorney general or auditor general or something went in to look at the books of NWIN, and I'm sure he would have seen a lot of things wrong. And the city of Windsor fired the auditor because NWIN said, "We don't want him poking around here." So they fired him, and it kept everything quiet. And anytime things come up, what does the city of Windsor always do? Well, why do you think we get swimming meets and the Memorial Cup twice in 6 years or 7 years? Come on. The OHL, the CHL, doesn't do that. So there's a lot of money shit going on, and now $800,000 more of your dollars last month went to a fucking company to build a salt shed. So there's a lot more. Windsor's not squeaky clean, especially when we put our refugees up in nicely... Oh, by the way, yeah, they also get air conditioning and heat those refugees in those hotels the city of Windsor puts them up in. So how's that fair to our people? We have people that need food. We have people that need shelter. We have people that have shelter and have a little bit of food, would like more. There are food banks. Some of them utilize that. I'm pretty sure they would love it if the city said, "You know what? Your rent's fucking paid for. And as far as your heating and cooling, your utilities, paid for. We'll come around and do your maid service. Paid for. You get cable TV and internet. All paid for. The money we give you on the assistance, eat better." But they don't. So, on that note, again, more of you should learn what veganism is, what you're taking into your body. I remember watching the, what was it, the Vacation, National Lampoon Vacation, and they finally get to Wally World, and John Candy's being an idiot. So Chevy Chase goes, listen, fat ass, or hey, fat ass, I'm going on there. And it reminded me of some of the shit that they're putting on people. The potato chips in the States have olestra, which is a fake fat because it's healthier for you, but it's not. It actually says on the... Who wants to buy a bag of potato chips and read a disclaimer on the bottom that says, may cause anal seepage? Yeah, you enjoy those. Yeah, you enjoy those. And you enjoy that fucking... Oh, that Pringles shit. The Procter & Gamble Pringles shit when you find out what's actually in there. You may as well lick a fucking doorknob or a menu or a shopping cart handle, you fucking bunch of dummies. Learn what you're putting in your body. And if you take anything out of this, take this out of this. I'm not insulting you. I'm spurring you on to learn what you're putting in your body. Now, whether it's a man or a woman I'm talking to here, if your girlfriend or boyfriend is trying to spice things up in the bedroom and they're about to stick something inside you, aren't you going to want to ask, what is that? Well, you're putting a lot of food inside you. You don't even know what it is. Start learning. You'll be healthier and you'll save some of my animal friends. I did avoid 2 squirrels since the last taping and had a lot of bad drivers again. Frequently call them, get in the fucking center lane, you dumbass hat, etc., etc. It's not getting better. So I'm only assuming Windsor got 500 more immigrants in the last month, and all 500 of them got driving licenses. And they're all out there, don't know what the fuck to do, just getting in my fucking way. And probably in a gray or a white or a silver fucking car. It's Tony, I'm done.